Yay or Nay Show with Alex V. A sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. And now, here is Alex C.
Okay, here we go. It is the Yay or Nay Show with Alex C., the sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. There are a lot of things to go over today. It is Friday, big weekend of sports coming up. A lot of big college football games. And, of course, we've got NFL action. We got a lot of NBA action. We've got NFL moves going on. Just a lot of stuff. So let's do this. Let's go to my Facebook page, which, by the way, the address to the Facebook page at Yay or Nay Podcast. For those of you who are streaming me, you can always go to the video cast on Facebook and Twitter at Yay or Nay Podcast. The address to the Facebook and Twitter. The reason why I'm telling you to go check out the video cast, on the bottom of the screen, you will see where you can buy official Yay or Nay Show with Alex C. podcast gear. So you can just click on the link and it will take you where you need to go to get official gear from the podcast. Or you can always just go to the Facebook and Twitter page again at Yay or Nay Podcast, and you can find the link, but you might have to dig there a little bit. So you might, again, just want to check out the video cast. On the bottom of the video cast, you will see the link to buy your official podcast gear. Meanwhile, let's get into the stories that are on the Facebook page. Got quite a few of them. This one breaking just a little bit ago. Odell Beckham released from the Cleveland Brown Bag Browns. All right, now, this has been going on for a minute. We all know the story about Cleveland. We all know the story about Odell Beckham. We all know that, obviously, by what we saw, we didn't have to hear anything from Odell's dad like the national media guys did. All you had to do was watch, and you could see Baker Mayfield did not have a good rapport with Odell Beckham Jr. They didn't work well on the field. I don't know how they got along in regards to practicing and things of that nature, but obviously it was not working. And to be honest, if I had to look at Baker and that entire Cleveland Brown roster, it doesn't look like it's working with Baker at all. I think Baker's the problem. I think the coaching's fine. I think the organization is doing better. I think the general manager is doing better. I think the fact that the general manager made the move and released Odell Beckham Jr. shows you the general manager knows what he's doing. It's a move he knew he had to make, and he made it. And I think it was a smart move to make. And the thing is so when you got a general manager, when you got an organization who's looking to win, trying to turn things around, you got a team who's gone back to being the Brown Bag Browns, and it's all due to one guy, Baker Mayfield. Look, extension, that's got to be thrown out the window by now. You have to seriously, as an organization and as a general manager, have thrown out the idea of giving an extension to Baker Mayfield. He is the problem. He's not the fix. And you've got to get a quarterback. You're a quarterback away from getting back to the playoffs. Simple as 1, 2, 3. If you're the Cleveland Browns, you're a quarterback away from getting to the playoffs. And Baker Mayfield is not that quarterback. So again, breaking news. Guess what? Odell Beckham Jr. gone. No longer a Cleveland Brown. Lots of stories circulating in regards to where he might go. I don't know. Maybe he'll land someplace today. Not really sure. I haven't checked. I have seen some reports about some conversations that have taken place since he got released, but I don't know if anything's been finalized at this point in time. Another story we have up on our Facebook page, Von Miller. This is kind of a funny quote. I heard this one yesterday. It says, I went to sleep 4-4 and I woke up 7-1. Look, Von Miller, he has to be absolutely happy that he went from being a Denver Bronco, a lowly Denver Bronco, to a Super Bowl competitive Los Angeles Rams team. He has to be happy. Not to mention he gets to play with Aaron Darnold. I mean, this guy has to be super excited. It looks like he is. It sounds like he is. And I don't blame him if he is. And let him gloat and talk about it all he wants to because he deserves to. Again, why not? You did go to bed 4-4. And then you did wake up 7-1. So why not be excited? Why not be happy? Then there's another post up here that says best one-loss team. It shows the Cardinals, shows the Cowboys, it shows the Rams, and it shows the Packers. Now, this one is interesting. You got to remember the Aaron Rodgers thing that's going on right now. Aaron Rodgers, of course, trying to lie through his teeth, trying to say that he didn't mislead and he didn't lie to anybody. It was a misunderstanding. And I'm going to say this again. I said it yesterday. Aaron Rodgers, you're full of it. You're a liar. You cannot say that you have had any kind of a treatment and have it mean something differently than what you were intending to mislead people into believing. It's simple. It's real simple. I mean, they asked you, are you vaccinated? It's simple. You said yes. And because you manipulated the word that you used instead of vaccinated, all of a sudden that little play on words makes you intelligent? Is this really what the sports media guys are going to try and claim is intelligent on Aaron Rodgers' behalf because he manipulated and changed the word from being vaccinated to another word, and that all of a sudden makes him intelligent and makes everybody else dumb and not able to understand what Aaron Rodgers meant? Really? He wasn't trying to mislead people? He wasn't trying to lie to people? If you guys really buy that garbage, then you're obviously just scared of him and you're just more interested in kissing his tail than you are in reporting the facts. And that makes you a pathetic excuse as an NFL analyst and reporter, and you should have no business doing that for a living. Simple as 1, 2, 3. You should be ashamed. You should retire. You should quit. Realistically, you should get fired, because if you're going to allow somebody to use a play on words and then try to defend them to say that, no, they didn't lie when they did blatantly lie, then you deserve to be fired, and you shouldn't do this for a living. You shouldn't. It's simple. Now, back to the question at hand. Best one-loss team, and why did we go off on the Aaron Rodgers tangent? Well, Aaron's not going to be available for a while, and we don't know how long. Look, the NFL has to do an investigation, and there has to be some kind of a reprimand for the Packers because they knew, and to Aaron Rodgers. And keep in mind, the NFL knew as well. It's not like the NFL themselves are not guilty of not knowing when Aaron Rodgers filed a petition to ask for the treatment that he had to count the same as being vaccinated. So you cannot say that the NFL is not somehow culpable for this as well. They are. But the bottom line is, if they go in and they do an investigation and they do absolutely nothing, or they slap him with some dumb minimal fine that ain't going to cost him very much out of his pocket at all, then that means the NFL, just like these NFL sports announcers that do this for a living, are more interested in kissing his tail than they are anything else, meaning they're putting the almighty dollar before people's health. And there's a story that ran this morning. I'm going to go look it up. Not today. I'll get back to it on Monday, because I didn't get a chance to grab it before I started the podcast today. But there was a story this morning where it said NFL in serious trouble. And they were referring to Aaron Rodgers, the lie, the misleading, the fact that the NFL knew about it. Now all of a sudden they're trying to cover their butts, do an investigation, and nobody believes they're going to do anything to Aaron Rodgers in regards to this situation. And they very well might be right. Again, because as I stated a moment ago, some people believe Aaron Rodgers is going to get a minimal fine. He's not going to lose any amount of money that's going to hurt him, and he's not really going to get a big suspension or anything like that. He's just going to be out for the time that he has to be out because of the protocol that's in place for COVID-19. And with that being said, everybody's going to look at it who's not an NFL fan, not an Aaron Rodgers fan, not a Green Bay Packer fan. Everybody else is going to look at it and say, NFL, you got a problem. And I hope the news media harps on this big time. I really do. I hope they beat the NFL down for this if they don't do anything to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, because they will deserve all of the negative press that the press wants to give them in regards to this situation if they don't do anything to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, because this is an atrocious lie that was told by Aaron Rodgers. It's not minimal. It's not a play on words. It's not a manipulation. It is a blatant lie. The answer to the question was black and white. Are you vaccinated? The one most important word that came out of Aaron Rodgers' mouth was yes. Therefore, he lied. Anything he said after the fact, think about it. Anything he said after the fact where he said yes was simply going to be something designed to mislead people and to cover his tail if he ever got busted for the lie. So therefore, Aaron Rodgers, because he lied, needs to severely be punished, not only for lying, but for endangering people's health, for not following the NFL protocol that every other team and every other NFL player has been forced to adhere to. And if they don't do it and they put the almighty dollar before people's health and the protocol that's in place for COVID-19, then the NFL deserves all the negative pressure and press that they're going to get. Now, we got that out of the way. Let's talk about the question. Cardinals, Cowboys, Rams, Packers, who's the best? Well, you got to eliminate the Packers now. You have to eliminate the Packers. And you got to look at the Cardinals, and you got to say, in reality, they're probably not for real. They've probably peaked, and they peaked too early. You've probably seen the best out of the Cardinals. You got to take them out of the equation. The Cowboys aren't for real. We know. We went through the schedule. We broke it down. They haven't beat a playoff team yet. They haven't beat one. The Rams are the only legitimate team out of the four. The Packers would be, if Aaron Rodgers and this drama didn't exist, it would be the Rams and the Packers. Again, you got to eliminate the Cardinals, and the Cowboys haven't played anybody or beat anybody who is a playoff-bound team, so that is a joke. Take the Cowboys out. Rams, the only legitimate team right now. Packers would join the Rams if Aaron Rodgers was available, but we all know he's not going to be available. Then there's something that I've been talking about for a while. I've been talking about it on the Twitter. I've been talking about it on Facebook. And so I did make another comment today. I live in the 602 Phoenix, Arizona. We all know Robert Sarver, the allegations of racism and sexual misconduct. And that's been something that has been talked about for a couple of weeks. It started a couple of weeks ago with TMZ breaking the story. And then what happens? I get wind of it. Some people tell me about it. I start talking about it. Local radio doesn't talk about it. Local TV news doesn't talk about it. They won't talk about it. They stay quiet about it. Absolute zero. Until they were forced to talk about it when the four-letter network story dropped. Now that the four-letter network story dropped, all of a sudden now they're talking about it. But, and I can't speak to the TV news yet, I haven't really heard too much. I did hear some of the morning shows this morning. I'll discuss what I heard in regards to them this in a few minutes, but I want to specifically go to the morning radio sports shows. And so far what I've heard is, again, everybody seems to be in defense mode. Everybody seems to be wanting to defend Sarver. Well, there's no named sources, and everybody wants to be anonymous. And none of the allegations seem that true. And well, maybe if this person comes forward to the NFL and they say that they heard this in front of the, then maybe there might be something there. So basically, they're in full, all-out defense mode for Robert Sarver. That's all I heard from the radio this morning. Defense. Well, there's nothing there. No named sources. Do you really think Earl Watson is credible? You know, because you got a report that there's all these guys in the front office, including Larry Fitzgerald, and Larry Fitzgerald is saying that he would vouch for Robert Sarver. And I'm sorry, folks, but I have a hard time believing Larry Fitzgerald would vouch for Robert Sarver, not knowing all the facts. Irregardless of the fact that Larry Fitzgerald is a small but partial owner of the Phoenix Suns, but again, very small, but nonetheless a partial owner of the Phoenix Suns. Irregardless of that fact that obviously he's had interaction with Robert Sarver over the years, I don't think Larry Fitzgerald would put his name or his reputation on the line by coming to the defense of Robert Sarver like the radio wants you to believe, because a local radio here wants you to really believe that Larry Fitzgerald is saying that he's never heard anything from Robert Sarver and he doesn't believe the allegations and he's willing to vouch for Robert Sarver. And I have a very hard time believing that that's true. I believe that the letter may have said that they haven't heard anything, but I have a very, very hard time, and I believe they are taking a huge leap and a huge stretch by trying to say that Larry Fitzgerald, of all people, is going to put his reputation on the line and say that he's vouching for Robert Sarver, as if they've broke bread 1,000 times and have been best friends for the last 35 years. I hardly doubt Larry Fitzgerald is doing that. It's amazing. I think these guys are stretching. And again, just to make sure we're clear, I am not saying Robert Sarver is guilty. I am not saying the NBA needs to force Robert Sarver to sell the Suns. I am saying we need to let the facts come out. Where I'm getting frustrated and upset is because all I'm hearing from the Phoenix Sports Radio is how nothing is there, and Larry Fitzgerald and the other owners are vouching for Robert Sarver, and there's all kinds of people defending Robert Sarver, like the general manager, and everybody's anonymous, and nobody's names are being released, and nobody's willing to come out on the record. So basically, you're in defense mode. And then they're questioning the credibility of Earl Watson. So that's all I've heard. It's been nothing but defense mode. It's been absolutely, utterly 150% disgusting in regards to what I heard from the so-called sports media here in Phoenix, Arizona. But I don't call you sports media anymore because now more and more, the more I listen, the more you guys get it wrong in everything you say. I think you are a J-O-K-E, joke, 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 joke. That's what I think about the local sports media here. I read a little bit more of the story. I don't want to get really into it. I don't want to go far or get off on a tangent or anything like that. I read more of the story, and I heard some more of, even what some of the local radio guys were talking about this morning and what they read and what they understood. And it's amazing to me with what they read and with what they understood. They're still in defense mode when there's a lot of stuff that makes you say, well, there might be something there. Because at this point, that's kind of where I'm at. Where I'm at is, well, there might be something there. Again, I'm not saying make him sell the team. I'm not saying he's totally guilty of everything that's being said. I'm not saying that. But I am saying, well, there seems to be a little smoke. And where there's smoke, there's fire. The question is, how much of a fire is there? Right? That's really ultimately what the question is. How much of a fire is there? Because at the end of the day, that seems to be ultimately what the question is. I don't really doubt that there is something there. Unlike the local radio who wants you to believe there's nothing there. Everybody's anonymous. Nobody's willing to come on record. Is Earl Watson believable? I don't understand where they're coming off with that. And again, I'm not saying that there are irrefutable facts or anything like that yet. There's still a lot more to come out. But what I am saying is there's something there. And what I mean by there's something there is there's definitely something there that warrants more of an investigation. And I am very happy that the NBA is now getting involved. Another story that's come out. Remember, I've been on this for a while, too. Of course, I beat the national and the local media to this. And the local media still, by the way, isn't even calling for this man's dismissal. But the story is Arizona State football fans call for Ray Anderson to be fired, not just Herm Edwards. Now, we're talking about the Arizona State University Sun Devils, the football program. Herm Edwards done a horrible job, pathetic. And I said he'd do a horrible, pathetic job when they hired him. The day they hired him, I was already all over this guy for having not been involved in football for like however long it was a long period of years. No experience in college ball. All of his experience was in the NFL. And for him to make the leap from TV to now and radio, jumping over to Arizona State head football coach and expect him to do a good job. He has no track record, right? And it shows because Arizona State has been absolutely horrific under his tutelage. He has done a pathetic job as a coach. He needs to be fired. Local media is still not calling for it. Don't understand why. And you know what? Ray Anderson, yeah, I agree. You got to go too. You've made nothing but bad coaching hire after bad coaching hire, and it is time for you to go. You obviously don't know anything about being an athletic director, especially of a school which has as much pressure on it as Arizona State does to win, because we are tired of being known as stepping stones here in the 602. So it is definitely time for Ray Anderson to go, as well as Herm Edwards. And once again, and this is what ultimately makes me happy, once again, the fans are up front and are the first to say what needs to happen, unlike these national media guys who think that they're the ones who should dictate what's going to happen. There's a lot of games that are going to be going on this weekend. I don't know really of any that are that big of a deal. I mean, really, in all honesty, I don't think there's that many that are that big of a deal. I don't think there's a lot of big games that are going on. There's a lot of talk about Belichick turning the Patriots around, and the Patriots are now facing in the right direction, and they're moving forward. A lot of talk about, Patrick Mahomes, still people believing in him, thinking he's going to be able to turn it around and get something going for Kansas City. And again, I don't believe so, and I don't know what they're, looking at. But again, when I look at the national media guys, I don't put a lot of creed into what they say because they get it wrong so often. It's ridiculous because there's no way in the world you can tell me that Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs have the ability or the roster to turn it around. The Saints are who the Saints are. They're a pretty good team. They're not a great team, but they're a pretty good team. Last night's football game, was ultimately basically a disappointment. There should have been a lot of things coming out of last night's game with the Colts and the Jets because, again, Mike White played an unbelievable game against the Cincinnati Bengals, and I believed he was going to do the same last night, and he started off to do it. But then he got injured, he got knocked out, and the Jets became who the Jets are. But I think if Mike White would have stayed in that game, it would have been more competitive, and we would have seen a whole different outcome. I'm not saying the Jets would have won, but it would have been more competitive, and it would have been exciting, and I don't think the Colts would have had as easy of a time, even though they were able to run the ball at will. I think that momentum is a big thing in football, and I think if the offense would have been kicking tail, if Mike White would have been doing his thing, I think the defense would have definitely stepped up, and all they would have really needed to do if they could get into a shootout would be stop, Carson Wentz and the Colts once or twice, and who knows, we could have had a different outcome. But I think there definitely is a quarterback controversy in New York. I think Mike White over Zach is the way to go. National media guys want you to believe that, you don't listen to the fans. You don't worry about what the fans say. No, folks, they're the ones that pay the bills. Let me say that to you one more time. The fans are the ones that pay the bills. They are the ones you should be listening to. And I'm so tired of listening to the national media try to dictate and tell you how things are supposed to be done when they have absolutely zero idea how things are supposed to be done. Because, again, they get it wrong so often, it baffles me as to why they get a paycheck for talking about sports 24/7. So when you look at it and the national media guys sitting there telling you that, the coach needs to look at it and they need to decide what's best for Zach, if it's best for him to sit on the sidelines and that's what you have him do. If it's best for him to be on the field, that's what you do. But you should probably have him on the field because that's where he's going to learn the best. Really? Show me a rookie, by the way, and all of them that are out there are getting their butts kicked. Show me a rookie that's out there getting their butts kicked on the weekly that's growing and looking like they're going to come back next year and do something special. Show me one. Justin Fields, does he look like he's going to come back next year and do anything special? Does he look like he's growing, really? Are you serious with that? Are you really trying to tell me that right now, that you're watching these games and you're seeing growth out of him, that he's getting better, that he looks like he's making the Chicago Bears more competitive? Are you really trying to tell me that right now? Because no, he's not. It's not happening. He's losing confidence. He's getting sacked. He's getting hurt. He's going to have a real nice offseason of sitting on the couch and icing up and trying to repair. That's for dang sure. And you're telling me that's what's in his best interest, to go out there and get his butt kicked week in and week out versus sitting on the sidelines and watching somebody else and watching their mistakes and watching their successes and figuring it out? That is the way you grow in the NFL. That is how it's been done for years. That is the formula that works. I get it. Sometimes you got to change or you got to try things that are out of the norm. But the new norm has been put in the rookies. And again, so I'll ask the question. We've been doing it for a few years. And I'll say this. Where are the rookies that have come in and have been sensational, lights out, and they're leading their teams to the Super Bowl? Are there any? Can you name me one? I can't. Can you name me any that are taking their team to the playoffs, that are the reason why their team's going to the playoffs? Can you show me one? Can you show me a second-year quarterback that has been plugged in and he's doing absolutely lights out? Because you guys were trying to feed us that garbage about Justin Herbert. And how's that worked out? Are you watching the Chargers? Do they look spectacular? Do they look special? Does Justin Herbert look like an MVP candidate in the NFL? No. So guess what? Your philosophy of plug and play doesn't work. That's not how you learn. So I don't understand why anybody would listen to the national media in regards to this particular topic, because, again, if you want to use Justin Herbert as the example, he came in last year. He had some moments. He looked good. He showed you spurts. Now here you are a year later. He looked better last year than he does this year. There's nothing special about what that Charger team is doing. And the team is on his shoulders. And he's not leading them anywhere special. And he's not making them look spectacular. So the plug and play the rookie thing doesn't work. Even though there is a female co-host of a national radio and TV show who likes to run her mouth as if she knows something about football when really, sorry, I listen to you a lot, and no, you don't. You get it wrong more than most people, as a matter of fact. You don't plug and play players when they're rookies with zero experience. You don't do it, it doesn't work. And I would challenge this co-host, national co-host, who likes to run her mouth and talk about plug and play, and that's why you got him in the first round, and that's what you brought him for, so why wouldn't you put him in? You don't put him in because they're not ready. You don't put him in because you're going to get him injured. You don't put him in because they're going to lose their confidence. You don't put him in because they're not going to lead you to the playoffs, so what's the purpose on putting him in now? That's why you don't put him in. I just taught you a little something about football, Miss Big Mouth, arrogant co-host. You run your mouth like crazy about so many things, and you get it so wrong, and you're so arrogant, you don't even understand how wrong you are. It's absolutely embarrassing and amazing. But, hey, we all have to do it a little bit differently, and we all have to learn at our own pace. But I just explained to you the reasons why you do not plug and play rookies in the NFL. It's a mistake. They're going to get hurt. Confidence. Nobody's going to lead you to the playoffs. Nobody's going to lead you to the promised land. And nobody's going to come back in year number 2 and be super spectacular and get you where you want to be. Again, because let's go to their favorite that they like to talk about, including the female national co-host who likes to run her mouth all the time. Let's talk about Justin Herbert, one of her personal favorites. Hey, again, how are the Chargers doing? Do they look great to you? Do they look like they're going to the Super Bowl? Do they look like Justin Herbert's going to lead that team to be special or spectacular? No. So I guess you were wrong once again, Miss National Co-host. It's real simple, folks. It's real simple. You guys enjoy all the college action, all the NFL action, all the NBA action that's going to be going on this weekend. I will talk to you. We will break it all down on Monday, including get ready for the Monday night game. You guys enjoy your weekend.